Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition. It is a Monday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a lot to talk about today. First off, JC and I want to give a shout out to a good friend of ours that we lost over the weekend, Kyle Marsh, former Gator quarterback. Been battling cancer for about 10 years and battled his ass off. And he's much better off now, quite honestly. But just a good guy and too young at 55 years old.
Too young and just taken too soon. And QB, the one good thing I can say is that he's no longer in pain, and he was able to come to the Florida-Mississippi game in November. You were a large part of making him comfortable, as was I, on that trip. And he brought his children, and he brought his wife and some friends to that game, and that was one of the biggest things he said that had ever happened to him in the last 10 years. It just was. He wanted to see Gainesville and give those kids a chance to see Gainesville and Gator country and go through the football facility and so on and so forth. And he got to do that, and got a picture with Coach Steve Spurrier at the restaurant, and we were all together one really good last time until his condition continued to deteriorate. And you never know when your name is called and it's time to go to the good Lord, and that's where he's at. And so we'll be there for his funeral this weekend, and that'll be it.
Yep. So very, very sad. But like you said, he is
one of a kind.
No longer in pain, and he was definitely one of a kind. Look, listen,
we could go on for hours with stories about
we could.
But he was a quarterback that you replaced at University of Florida. And he never held that against you. It was just something that happened. You were better. So he knew it and accepted that. And he had he did a lot for people. He had a lot of resources. He was very well off and took care of a lot of things and a lot of people and built some things in Jackson, Mississippi that he can leave as a legacy to his family and to all of us.
Yep, for sure. And some happier news if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Congratulations to them, just total domination. The best roster did win. We said the best roster, they had it, but it hadn't always won. Them and the Ravens had the best roster, but tip your hat to them. I don't know if I've ever seen a front four whip a professional football team the way the front four did for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen played probably his best game of his career, and I like Jalen because he just does his job and doesn't complain. But let me tell you something. You can only give one person, I think, the MVP award because they got to go to Disney and all that kind of stuff. And Jalen deserved it. But who really deserved it was the front four of the Eagles defense. It was they're just nasty, man. They couldn't block them.
Staggering. And I tell you, we saw basically two massacres this weekend, QB. We saw a massacre in Auburn, Alabama. We saw a massacre in New Orleans. And we'll start with that. The New Orleans massacre was something that I just missed. I missed it. I had the Chiefs. I totally missed it. Did not see that happening. And, they made Kansas City look ordinary. And QB, the thing I think that you have to give Howie Rosenbaum a lot of credit.
He's a Gator. He's a Gator.
And he picked a lot of SEC players. And, Jalen Hurts, say what you want. This was a guy who literally could not throw a forward pass when he played for Alabama. He then went and learned how to play the position at Oklahoma under Lincoln Riley and got drafted. And then he plays for a guy named Nick Sirianni. I don't even know, Kellen Moore. And there they are. He's making passes. He's running out of the pocket. He's had the best game of his life, as you said. Mm-hmm. And he is a winner. And he's not the most accurate or the most best, but boy, he did everything right. And the Eagles were just physically unbelievable. QB, that defensive front four and even their offensive line was just dominant last night, and you have to hand it to it. Look, Kansas City's defense didn't play badly.
They didn't play bad at all. Like I told you, they shut down Barkley, And
which is what they wanted to do, but they
Yeah.
could not handle Hurts. And listen, Brown, Smith, they were all just a big.
And what's crazy is they ain't going to lose many people due to salary cap issues. So,
right. Yeah, they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be fine.
Let's get to a couple of texts here on the Titan MR.
Right.
We'll have Kevin Brockway the second half. We'll talk a lot of basketball on that.
Oh, got to mention that. We got to mention the fighting Gators, dude.
I'm not sure who this is, but they said the Super Bowl committee blew it. Another blowout. The Chiefs shouldn't have been in it. Very true.
Well, I think I can remember in my lifetime of watching Super Bowls, QB, I think I've seen more blowouts than I have good games. I don't know. This reminded me of when the Redskins played the Bills, or when the Cowboys played the Bills, or when the Vikings played the Dolphins. We're just talking blowout city, and there's been a lot of lopsided Super Bowls, QB. If you want to look at it, there have been, and this was one of them. And nobody saw this coming. It was incredible. Listen, the Gator basketball team. Let's talk. They're down 10. I'm texting you saying this could be another long day, just because I'm thinking of the Tennessee game the week before, and then out of nowhere, this Walter Clayton Jr. and Urban Cavalchar, the Slovenian.
Urban Klabzar.
The Slovenian, the pride of Slovenia, comes out there and just starts dropping bombs, and nobody at Auburn, Alabama had a clue that what was coming, and got hit in the face. That's what you do to bullies, QB. You smack them back, and they back down a lot of times, and Auburn got smacked back, and the Gators hit 13 threes. This is the only time in Florida basketball history, that they've beaten the number one team in the nation on the road ever. And now this year, they've beaten the number one team in the nation, not once, but twice. They beat the Tennessee Volunteers by 30. They were number one at the time, and they beat the Auburn Tigers. And it was a lot more than 9 points.
Well, you know what the key to the game was, JC?
Hitting threes.
Making shots.
Hitting threes. Absolutely.
If you make shots, you win games. It's
1,000%. And those Gators, if they hit those shots, watch out. They can beat anybody in the country, QB. Anybody. They can beat Houston. They can beat Alabama. They can beat anybody in the country if they hit their threes, as just about anyone can. But I'll tell you, that is amazing. And I think Florida jumps up to 3 or 4 in the country. Alabama will be 1. They almost choked and lost to Arkansas, but they dominated that game. And then, you had the number 1 and 2 teams in the nation lose this weekend. They lost. So the Gators, first time ever in school history, beating the number 1 team in the nation on the road, and they did it emphatically. And I was shocked. It was a surprising weekend for me. I couldn't believe some of the things I saw.
Yep, that's the great thing about sports. You never know what's going to happen. Text from Philip in Enterprise, Alabama, the Titan MR text line said the Chiefs O-line got beat like they stole something.
Ooh, they got beat.
They got beat down. The kid from Florida State just wore them out.
That's right.
Kid.
Sweat, Sweat. And I think Jalen Carter had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis, the rest of them, these guys, and they didn't even have Nakobe Dean in the game. He was hurt, obviously didn't play, but the Cooper DeJean with the interception, pick 6, they just made Mahomes very uncomfortable in that game. First time in, I think, my life I've seen Patrick Mahomes look uncomfortable as badly as he did in that game. They punted the ball, I don't know, 8 times?
Yeah, a lot of times you can say, what can you do to help? One time the Chiefs went 7-man protection, only sent 3 receivers out, and he still got just demolished.
Didn't matter. Did not matter.
Yeah, I guess a 4-man rush.
Right.
So they never blitzed them. But I want to give a shout out to softball. Softball just ran through the tournament down to UCF. I mentioned Taylor Shoemaker on this program the other day, as Tim saying probably the best hitter he may have ever coached. JC, she's a true freshman. She's already hit 5 home runs. It may be 6.
God bless
in
her.
6 games. They've only played 6 games.
Where is she from, this girl?
I think she's from California.
Good for Tim. This guy.
She plays right field, but she
Tim Walton. Jeez.
She can swing it, brother.
This could be the year, man. This could be the year. Let's just hope. But that's something to look forward to. The baseball team is something to look forward to. I know you're going to have O'Sullivan here soon. And then the basketball team. My God, this basketball team. Boy, it's fun to watch them hit those threes. It was fun. It was just great to see them blow out the Auburn Tigers. That was the last thing I expected from QB. I just doesn't mean they're going to have to do it again. They may play them again. But when Clayton hits those threes, and Urban hits those threes, and you got the 2 big guys underneath dominating, I think that's the formula for beating Auburn is your big guys being active and hitting shots. If your big guys hit shots too, I mean, it seems very simple, and it is. And they did. God bless.
Chris from Cottondale on the Titan Mar text line says, let JC know that when he is talking about who the Gators can beat and pointing out they can beat anybody, stop saying Houston. That program is a very good program. Sampson's a very good coach. They play great defense, but are allergic to scoring.
Listen, I agree. There's nothing bad about Houston, but I'll take Florida if they hit those. If they hit 13 threes, that's 39 points. I'm taking them against anybody. I'll take them against the Hawks. Okay. Because their guards, the big guys, when everybody's working together, Todd Golden's best win. I think it's probably his best win as a Gator coach. Definitely.
It's probably the best win in the school history, Jason.
Yeah, because it's never happened before. You never beaten the #1 team in the nation on the road.
For sure. Mike Clemens on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says 11.4 QBR, lowest in Super Bowl history. I'm not sure what he's referring to because nobody in the game had 11.4 QBR. I'm looking at the QBRs right now. Hurts was 119 and Mahomes was 95.
I'm just telling you, Jalen Hurts was benched in 2017, I think it was, because he couldn't get a first down. And Alabama was trailing Georgia by 10, and Tua then took over and won the game. But then Tua got hurt, and Jalen Hurts comes back 10 months later against the same Georgia Bulldogs in the same building and pulls out a game in the fourth quarter. This guy's a born winner, but he could not throw the football at Alabama the way he's throwing the football now. And I really believe Lincoln Riley had everything to do with that at Oklahoma. And God bless him. Good for Jalen Hurts, man. I mean, kid's a winner.
Rob says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality, Clayton and Martin should not be playing at the same time. Martin coming off the bench will make this team better. I don't know about that. No. You play your best players.
Well, Martin's a good player.
He's a very good player. He was injured. He didn't play the other day. And so now people think because we beat the #1 team in America without him playing that he needs to come off the bench.
No.
Don't read too much into that. I mean, you're going to play your best players. Todd Golden knows his team better than we do.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Hawk plays great. Hawk was great. Condon was fine. I was happy with what I saw. I just couldn't believe it. I was sad.
Hawk and Condon, what they do is they play hard. You know, I've always told you JC, I'm going to see if you paid attention over the years here on this program. What type of player do offensive linemen hate playing against?
The type of player they hate playing against is like a Jack Pyburn kind of guy.
But it's usually the unathletic white guy that plays really, really hard.
There you go.
Or it doesn't have to be the white guy. It just has to be anybody that has that motor that never stops.
Jack Pyburn type guy.
Yeah. They hate that because usually really good players, they'll take a play off here or there. That's how Hawk and Condon are to me. They play so damn hard.
They do play hard, and they're 7-footers almost, and that's a twin tower scenario these guys can move. That's the thing. They're not stationary guys. They can move and run and go outside and shoot the ball. I mean, I tell you, I was just stunned at how accurate Florida's shooting was the other night. And I don't know if that's going to continue, but it can happen. And so since we've seen it happen, let's expect it to happen. And I hope Florida goes very deep, and I think they will. Defensively, they were good too. I mean, Auburn was clueless for most of that second half. I gotta tip my cap to the Gators, man. The Gators, this could be a special run this year. It could be. It doesn't mean it will be, but it could be. And if they stay healthy, watch out, folks. Nobody's going to want to deal with that lineup. That's a good lineup. You were right. I had to see it to believe it, but now that I've seen it, I do believe it. And I'm happy. I'm happy. I want to see Florida do well. I want to see Gainesville excited. I want to see the O-Dome bouncing. I want to see them kick people's asses up and down the court like that. It's exciting. SEC is unbelievable, QB. I mean, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Tennessee is – okay, mea culpa. I'm back on Tennessee now. Kentucky is Kentucky any day, any given night. Texas A&M, huge win at Missouri. Yeah. And Missouri's even good. I mean, we're looking at 12 teams in the dance. You said 12, right? Isn't that what you said, 12?
I think at least 12.
Yeah, that's incredible to me. Texas A&M, give them credit. That's an athletic as hell team. Taylor with a 3-pointer to beat Missouri at the buzzer. You go up to Missouri and win at Como, that's tough. Missouri's no joke. And that's a great win for Texas A&M. And Arkansas is even playing better. They're a bubble team, believe it or not. So
Electronics World Integration Design Specialist for Smart Home Automation and Entertainment, affordable local installation service and support. Electronicsworld.net. All right, Rob back. He replied. He says they're the same guy, Shane, and they all set when they are on the court. Both need to create, not great off the ball. Off the ball, they are not the same. If you look, this is my opinion. Elijah Martin's a good basketball player. He does a lot of things Walter Clayton doesn't, but he cannot score the basketball like Walter Clayton. It's not even close.
He's a hell of a shooter.
He's a shooter. He's a creator. He's a smooth operator.
And, we didn't even talk about Will Richard.
In my opinion, he may be the best guard we've ever had here.
Probably, yeah. I mean, and we haven't even mentioned Will Richard. He was kind of a quiet player the other day. And when Will Richard gets going, that's just another weapon this team has. They're loaded. They're fighting Gators.
Yeah. So anyway, really good win for them. And Kevin will break it down a little bit more for us and what's moving ahead for the Gator basketball team. It's one of those things. I talked to Chris Harry about this, because there's going to be so many teams when we go to Nashville in the SEC tournament.
Yes.
Do you want to go one and done and get out of there and rest?
I don't think so. I think you want to keep playing.
But I mean, I think like Florida, Alabama, Auburn, and maybe Tennessee,
right?
Regardless of what they do in the NCAA SEC tournament, I think they're going to be locked in.
Jerry Pump's got them all at 1 or 2 seeds, and
that's what I'm saying. So, do you want to tire your legs out and play?
Yeah, you know what?
2 or 3
if
games,
they end up playing on Sunday in the SEC or a championship game, they're going to probably get a Friday bid the following week in the tournament. A lot of teams, the NCAA tournament sometimes does that. They put the teams that play for a championship in the conference over on the Friday bracketing, Friday, Sunday, as opposed to Thursday, Saturday, because the NCAA tournaments, like I said, the following week, a lot of times they get that Friday, Sunday seeding. A lot of times, not all the time, but they're 1 or 2. But they're going to be 1 or 2 or 3 seeds, 1, 2, or 3. And I like what I saw this weekend. Alabama's damn good. Auburn is still damn good. Hey, listen, don't rest on Auburn. So they got their fanny spanked the other day. They're still unbelievable athletically. That team wears you out watching them. Just watching them makes you tired. They can play. So they took one, and that's probably a good thing for Bruce Pearl's team. They probably needed that.
Yeah. Text on the Titan Mar text line from Sam in Iceland.
Sam is in Iceland. That's right. He's in Keflavik.
He says, who's the early pick for the Super Bowl next year? Eagles, Chiefs uncontested in the AFC. Well, the Chiefs are very contested in the AFC. I would say, I would think that these 2 teams in Buffalo and the Ravens are probably the favorites for next year.
I still think the Rams are a team to keep your eye on, too.
Yeah.
Jared Verse is defensive rookie of the year, and listen, let me tell you, that guy is a disruptor. Matt Stafford is still Matt Stafford. They'll have plenty. They'll have a good draft coming. They're going to let Cooper Kupp go, but that'll save some cap space and get another player. Lions are still going to be good if the Lions stay healthy on defense. Remember the Lions were the toast of the league until they weren't because of injuries on defense. But the Lions with Jared Goff are still going to be a very difficult team to beat. Minnesota's still going to be good. Green Bay's still going to be good. Great question from Sam in Iceland. How about Sam in Iceland at 1:18 in the afternoon in the snow watching the QB on the podcast?
Man, what else would you do? 31 M. Burr. This is a good question here.
All right.
I'm going to let you go first, JC, then I'll answer. He goes, this is on YouTube, brought to you by Quiet.
I like 31.
Where would you rank Jalen Hurts among the NFL QBs?
Well, I mean, during the season, I don't know if he's a top 5, but right now he's number 1, right? So I don't know.
Realistically, I would say he's not. I don't know if he's inside the top 10. Like I think here's the thing. I think if you just look at quarterback play, now look, Jalen played his ass off yesterday, best game ever, and he's probably on the most talented team in the league outside of the Ravens, right? So he's got great pieces around him, but he's got to do his job. I would have to sit here and do it, but he's not a top five. I mean, there's 5 or 6 quarterbacks that you would take to start your franchise.
Okay, that's fine. But he is a manager of games and he wins.
No, no, I'm not arguing that, JC. We're
Yeah,
talking about if you were to start, I guess the easiest way to do this is if you started a franchise and you went down to all the starting quarterbacks, where would Jalen Hurts fall on your list to be your starting quarterback?
Somewhere
I'd
between
have to write it down, but I'd probably say it might be around number 10 or 11.
Yeah, somewhere between 5 and 10. The thing is, QB, you have to build, right? You have to build that team around the quarterback, and that's what they did. That's why Howie is so genius in Philadelphia. All those players he got for Jalen Hurts. My God, think about Josh Allen with the Philadelphia Eagles. Think about that.
Oh.
Everybody would be complaining about getting.
Well, remember when they were playing the Redskins and whatever it was at the NFC Championship game, I said, could you imagine if you put Jaden Daniels on the Eagles?
Woo.
Woo. Andy's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mello. Shane, did you see that Dick Duran passed away over the week? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
How was it to play for him? He was awesome. Just a first-class guy, never raised his voice, smart. And I did not know I don't think anybody knew he had cancer. I read something where his daughter in the publication after they announced that he had passed away it was like a month ago, he was having some memory loss. They took him to the doctor and they found out that he had lung cancer, brain cancer, and like within a month he was gone.
Well, I tell you, we need better drugs to fight cancer, folks. And cancer is such a big moneymaker in the pharmaceutical industry. And I just think there is, I hope in my lifetime, a way they can cure cancer. I mean, sounds simple, but it's not. How did I do betting wise last night? Asks Barone. I would say I lost a little bit. Had too many props out there because I got kind of loose with that. But I did hit the coin flip. I hit the Gatorade bath. I took both guys to throw interceptions and somehow parlayed that, took the over, but lost the side and lost a lot of other prop bets. So I would say I probably lost a couple $100, but nothing tragic. Not at all. Not at all.
And then I don't think our golf picks were worth a darn, were they?
Nah. Well, Nick Taylor didn't even finish in the top 20. That was my big play, and he was like 25th, 23rd. Justin Thomas made himself a lot of money on the last hole by eagling it from the fairway. QB hit it about I guess it was a wedge or a 9-iron in there, rolled the ball back into the hole for a 2. Justin Thomas went from 13th to 4th.
He had an eagle too, didn't he?
With that shot. Well, he eagled the 18th hole is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I thought you said Jordan Spieth.
No, Justin Thomas. Jordan Spieth played great. This kid, I think his name is Campbell somebody. His Monday qualifier finished in the top 10. It was a great weekend for a lot of guys. Except Scotty Scheffler. He fell apart on the back nine. Was kind of surprised to see that. But they kind of got loose with their drives and hit the ball in the desert. And you do that, you can get behind a tree and blah, 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 blah. But, the golf was great. I think they calmed it down a little bit on that 16th hole with the alcohol sales because it got too crazy on Friday and Saturday. And I think on Sunday, they just basically said, we're shutting it off. But everybody still showed up, and it was a big win for
Thomas Dietrich.
Yeah, Thomas Dietrich from Belgium.
And so they go this week to the Genesis, which used to be at Riviera?
Yeah. Right.
But now it's going to be back at Torrey Pines due to the fires.
And Tiger Woods, I think, is going to play in this tournament upcoming. So we'll see if he can make a cut, basically, is all it's coming down to now with Tiger. Can you make the cut? That's basically what golf is amounted to for Tiger. But hey, if you're just joining us, again, 2 massacres this weekend, one in New Orleans, one in Auburn. And, locally here, the one in Auburn was spectacular. It was great to watch, 4:00 on Saturday afternoon. I didn't start off great, but boy, did it end up great. And the Gators rolled. That was fun to see.
Yeah. Mark says on YouTube,
Urban Klabsar.
Plumbing. The Chiefs need to reload on receivers, even if Mahomes had the time, he had no separation. Look, here's basically, I thought the plan that Vic Fangio had. They didn't blitz one time. This is what we always talk about. If your front four can get after the quarterback,
and win
you can play zone coverage, keep the ball in front of you,
kill them.
And and that's what they did. They hit a few plays here and there, but
Mahomes was very
that front. I've never seen a professional offensive line get beat like that in my life.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's absolute slaying. And Congrats to the Eagles, and let's give Nick Sirianni some credit. I mean, everybody makes fun.
All the Eagle fans still want to fire him for some reason.
Yeah, well, sorry, this guy's won more games in 4 years or however many years he's been there than any other coach other than George Seifert, and now he's won a Super Bowl sooner than George Seifert, I think. And we're talking about Tom Landry, John Madden, Vince Lombardi, Mike Ditka. All of the great past coaches have not won as much as Nick Sirianni. And we didn't even know who that guy was when he was hired. What is Jeffrey Lurie doing? Who is this roommate in college that he hired? Or what is this guy? Who is he? Turns out he was on Andy Reid's staff in Kansas City is who he is. And he ended up being the head guy at Philadelphia. And the Eagle fans, they have the patience of an ant. All right. They don't, they'll give you 5 minutes in Philadelphia. Well, now you've got Nick Sirianni probably for the duration. And good for you, because this guy just wins games. I mean, just look at his record. It's incredible. Nobody talks about him up there amongst the elite coaches in the NFL. Nobody.
You know what I don't understand is when like Philly, the city of Philly, they go out and celebrate, right?
They destroy.
Why do people have to burn stuff?
Why do you want to climb on a traffic
light post?
What's up there? Tell me what's up there on that traffic light. What do you see up there, guys? Kid lost his life a week ago after the or 2 weeks ago, sorry, after the NFC Championship, and they're right back at it. Fireworks. Let's go down to 13th Street and University Avenue in Gainesville, and let's light fireworks right there in the middle of the street. Does that sound like fun?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I've just never understood that at all.
It's a war zone down there, and they go crazy. It's a war zone. But
JC, I screenshot this on Twitter. I thought this was quite interesting. Before we get you out of here, let me pull it up.
Let's see what you got.
It had a map of the United States, and it says where the past Super Bowl QBs have played high school football. Like, I think they go back to all the Super Bowls, the starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. Which state do you think has the most starting quarterbacks that played in their state? High school football.
I guess I'll just go with the odds and say Texas.
No, California has 13 starters.
What's Texas?
5.
Okay.
Louisiana has 7.
7 per capita. Louisiana is one of those.
Pennsylvania has 9.
Yeah, okay, 9.
How many do you think the state of Florida has that
I'll
play high school football?
6.
0.
0. Well,
so basically, if you want to be a Super Bowl quarterback, don't grow up in the state of Florida.
Well, Jalen Hurts.
Mississippi has 2.
Yeah, the Jalen Hurts played in Texas. He was a Texas.
You know who those 2 are?
In Mississippi. How about Steve McNair? Steve McNair, right? And the other one would be, tell me.
Your first ever interview, JC.
Brett Favre. And, I should have gotten that. If I had more time, I would have thought and got that. But Steve McNair, I knew. Brett Favre, okay, good.
But that's it. What stood out to me was there's nobody that grew up in the state of Florida playing high school football has ever started a game at quarterback.
Have you seen some of the high schools in Florida?
Well, no, I have, but there's great talent that come out of there.
There's great talent. That's true. Yeah. I don't know. I just, some places look at high school football differently than some places here. As you know, you sell to those schools, and you've done very well in Georgia, Alabama.
Georgia is the place to go.
Yeah, Georgia,
Alabama, and Mississippi.
Mississippi and Louisiana and Texas. It's just insane how much they value that and how little we see it around here. But whatever. We've got good athletes here too.
Yeah. All right. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. JC, on this day in 2019, the 8 centrally owned and operated teams of the Alliance of American Football get underway.
Oh, yeah.
The Orlando Apollos, coached by the head ball coach, beat the Atlanta Legends on this day at Spectrum Stadium in Orlando, 40-6.
The Apollos, before that thing shut down, I think they were winning it.
They won it. Coach will tell you he has a ring, an Apollo ring. Because they're the champs.
That is great. God bless the Orlando Apollos.
Dan just threw a great stat out here, JC, for you.
Okay.
Devontae Smith. Yes. This is Facebook Live brought to you by
Devontae Smith, winner.
Meldon Law. was the first Alabama player to ever score a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
What?
Is that correct?
I don't think
Dan,
that's right.
Dan knows his
No,
stuff.
I think Bart Starr scored.
He may have thrown a touchdown, but he didn't score a touchdown.
He didn't sneak in the Ice Bowl over.
You don't think Bart Starr ran quarterback sweep back in the day?
Well, I thought Bart Starr took the ball in the Ice Bowl on the 1 yard line and went over the top, but I might be wrong. Bart Starr was an Alabama quarterback, if you can believe it. So was Joe Namath. So was Ken Stabler.
Correct.
Think about that. And those guys didn't throw the ball that much until they got to the NFL. Isn't that something? Because Bear didn't run it. I mean, Bear ran the ball.
They didn't.
Yeah, he didn't throw the ball that much, but those guys were Alabama quarterbacks.
All right, well, we're going to talk hoops with Kevin Brockway.
I think that's great. Gators are hot, man. Get excited, folks. You got a softball team, a baseball team, a gymnastics team, and a basketball team. It's very exciting times in Gainesville right now.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Take a quick timeout, come back, talk a little hoops, shoot us your text, your comments, whatever. You're watching PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother, Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football. Let's go. We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and JF Hayden's is our liqueur brand. We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers and go Gators.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. There are many car washes in Gainesville, but only one Gallo Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Southwest Williston Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. Let's go back to the Titan MR Hot Comfort Tent, joined by the Gainesville Kevin Brockway. Good morning, Kevin. How you doing, bud?
Good morning, Shane. How are you?
Good. Real quick, we're going to jump into it because you were at Auburn. You went there to cover the Gators. We'll get the atmosphere and all that from you. But Gator Art says on YouTube, first ever win on the road versus number one. Dooley said all week, Auburn don't think so. Well, just because we beat them does not mean Auburn can't win at all. I still think they're the best team in America. Kevin, you were there. What was the atmosphere? Was that your first time in that new arena, or have you been there before?
No, I've been there before, but I've never seen the arena that charged because obviously I've been up there. I was up there for that 44-40 slog about 10 years ago. I don't know if you remember that one. But Bruce Pearl has got it really rocking there. Obviously, the success on the court that he's had the last 5 or 6 years has impacted it throughout that game. And I thought Alex Condon was terrific on Broom. Now, Broom had 18, but he had a lot of that late, and he was 8 of 19 from the floor. I thought, he really frustrated him. And he's kind of the head of the snake for Auburn and wasn't really as much of a factor as I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, he missed a lot of shorties too that, I think just because of the effort. You still like this Auburn team to make a deep run as well, right?
Oh, yeah, no, I think this is, and listen, Auburn came in winning 14 in a row. They came off a huge, obviously a big win at home against Oklahoma. So I think it's natural in practice, when that happens to let up a little bit, not taking any away from Florida's effort, but Auburn was a little sloppy in that game. I would say that Florida played an A game. Auburn played probably a C+ game. But Florida took advantage of it. I mean, they were at their best, even without Elijah Martin. They handled it. Shane and Clapshar and Aberdeen have both really stepped up this past week. You got to give them a lot of credit in terms of how they've both played. Obviously without Clayton on Saturday versus Vanderbilt, and then without Elijah Martin, on Saturday against Auburn. I think that, certainly, those two players, how they handled it, their ability to make shots. I mean, Aberdeen's shot, with about 7 minutes to go was huge. And obviously, the effort play by Thomas Houck as well, tapping that ball back. But if Aberdeen doesn't make that shot there, then it's not as big of a momentum play. And the same thing when he kind of hit that corner three with like 2:40 to go. That extended the lead back to 16, and that's when the Auburn fans started heading for the exits.
Yeah. Annie's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Do you think Urban will continue to get time when everyone's healthy?
Yeah, that's a good question. I asked Todd that, and Todd said, yeah, definitely worth a look, but we haven't seen that scenario come to play yet. Now, if Elijah's healthy on Tuesday, do you extend an 8-man rotation to a 9-man rotation? I'll be fascinated to see that, or how that could potentially work out. Or do you even maybe cut back, one of your big guys like Alexis minutes wise to put Clapshar on the floor? I think Todd is still, likes playing the 3 out, 2 in because he likes the rebounding, but I think Clapshar has definitely earned a little more of a look the way he shot the ball of late. I mean, he's a dead-eye shooter. In the beginning of the year, he kind of struggled with his shot a little bit, his confidence, but seems to be coming on now. And he could be that kind of, weapon off the bench where if you need a couple of threes in a big spot, he can deliver that for you. And he doesn't play bad defense. He goes in there, he hustles, he tries, he gives effort there. On that side of the floor as well. So I think he could be a valuable piece going forward.
James' question on the Titan MR text line. James is in Memphis, Tennessee. He says, what's the status of Elijah Martin?
Yeah, it's a hip pointer injury. And when we talked to Todd about it on Friday, Todd made it sound like he may be able to play, but, I think what happened was, probably tightened up on him, pre-shoot around on Saturday, and they just decided not to risk it. I don't see it as being a long-term injury, but, maybe you rest him another game with the way Clapshar's playing and give him, that full week and let him come back. We're going to talk to Todd at noon today, so we'll have a clear picture of that in terms of the length, but I don't see this as anything a major injury that's going to linger into March. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Richard, speaking of Todd Golden on YouTube brought by Quality Plumbing, has a question. So does Todd Golden get a big raise and extension?
He got an extension last year. And he got bumped up to, I believe, $4 million. So we will see how the end of the season goes. And I think some of that is, market driven, right? What kind of jobs are out there, or do any teams have interest in Todd? But I would think that, he certainly, you could be proactive if you're Florida in that regard, but I think certainly, the way things are going now, I mean, he deserves one in terms of, where he has his program 20-3. Duke lost, obviously, so over the weekend as well. So Florida's at 6 now. I mean, they could possibly move into the top 3, top 4 here, this week, and continue to make a run or make hay. You might be playing for number 1 seed now. So that all comes into play, and an SEC title too, which now you're 2 back of Auburn, you're 2 back of Alabama. You're in that mix. I think Texas A&M also has 3 losses. Missouri has 4 now. So they're in the mix for the SEC title, which would be nice because they haven't won one since 2014. And you win a league in a year like this, with the league being as strong as it's ever been, it's really, a huge feather in your cap. And coming with it would be a number 1 seed and a, easier path in March.
Yeah. A Gator Arts question on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing is, he says Martin kind of shot us out of the game versus Vanderbilt. Any chance he comes off the bench? No.
Yeah, he shot them out of the game against Vanderbilt.
He just didn't make them.
No, wait. Elijah Martin shot him off the game against Vanderbilt. I think he was only 4 or 5. He got hurt during the Vanderbilt game.
Yeah.
So did he mean the Tennessee game or no?
Well, Gator Art wants Elijah Martin coming off the bench because of how we played Saturday.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, Elijah's still averaging 15 a game. He's still a guy that, this was a guy that was on the Jerry West Award as one of the top 10 shooting guards in the country. You look at his overall body of work. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But that being said, I think Aberdeen and Klafschar have shown that they can handle minutes. If Elijah gets into foul trouble or fatigue or he's slumping a little bit during the course of a game, yeah, you might give Klafschar a little bit more run, or you might give Denzel a little bit more run. But Elijah's your starting guard. I mean, Elijah's arguably your second best player on this roster, or third if you want to say Alex Condon and Walter Clayton Jr. are your top 2. I mean, Elijah's up there in that mix in terms of, best overall players.
Yeah, for sure. For sprains, strains, and minor fractures, UF Health Orthocare makes it convenient for you. 7 days a week, including evenings. Walk-ins are welcome. That's UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. We got Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun talking Gator hoops right now. All right, so everybody's really excited about this Auburn win, right? Well, let me tell you something, folks. Where you're going tomorrow night ain't going to be easy. They got a damn good basketball team in Starkville.
Yeah, no, he's done it. Chris Jans has done a nice job. He's a good coach, and they've got a lot of weapons there. And the Hump is that's a tough place to play. That's another kind of a smaller arena. It gets loud in there. Obviously, interesting storyline. Obviously, Riley Kugel. You're going to be facing him. He's going to be a little juiced up with the way things ended in his Florida career, for sure. They've got some guys that are dangerous and that can do some damage. I think Hubbard is up there in scoring in terms of the leaders and so forth. So they're going to be, like I said, that's not going to be an easy game by any stretch. Yeah, Josh Hubbard, 17.5 points per game. Just looking it up, right behind Walter Clayton. So they're 7 and 8 in the league. And Hubbard's a guy that can light it up. I mean, he's a guy that's going to be dangerous, and certainly Florida's going to have a good scout, play good defense. They gave up 81 against Auburn, but it didn't feel like it, right? Because a lot of those points came late and stuff. I thought Florida was locked in on defense pretty well throughout that Auburn game in terms of the scout, but what really separated them was the 13 threes. Shane. And I think, eventually, when you get into March, you'd like to see a little bit more balance inside and out scoring. But, I mean, Condon had 17 in that game. Chanyelu and, Tommy Houck had 16, right? So he was giving you something in there as well. So I think that, a little more points in the paint going forward would be nice on those nights when you're not shooting the ball well, because we saw when they were 4-27 against Tennessee, they lost by 20. But hey, this is still a pretty good perimeter team, and I think on most nights you're going to shoot the basketball well.
Agree. Brian on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, Kevin, the Florida Basketball Hour podcast argued that this was the most significant resume builder win over the past 25 years. They argued based on various stats and net rankings, et cetera. What do you think about that idea?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to 06 and 07 and 14 and 13. Yeah, I mean, it has to definitely be up there in terms of, wins. I mean, I could go back to, maybe Florida beating Kentucky in the SEC tournament finals in 2005. That was kind of a breakthrough that bled into 2006. 2013 and 14, when they beat Tennessee and Kentucky back-to-back on the road, that was pretty significant. Those were two pretty big resume wins. But they've never beaten a true number one team on the road before. So I think Tennessee and Kentucky back in 13 and 14 were top 10 teams, and they beat them back-to-back. So that was a really significant stretch in terms of resume, and that was the year that they won, obviously 30 in a row, that Wilbekin Patrick Young team. But yeah, no, you can make an argument that Auburn is definitely up there in that category in terms of greatest regular season wins that Florida's ever had.
Yeah, and from a resume builder, I mean, look, Florida's going to be either a 1, 2, or 3 seed, regardless of what happens the rest of the year, in my opinion. Obviously, you'd love to be a 1 seed, but it was a tremendous win. But you got to put it behind you and move forward because the league is too damn tough. And I think it's going to be a struggle tomorrow night. Hopefully, we can go in there and play well. But Mississippi State is very, very good, very well coached. And then you come home and you got South Carolina, who's not a very good team, one of the worst in the league. But they play hard. So
yeah, and they played Florida to a 1-point game, albeit up there.
Correct.
The last time they've got some physicality on their front line, which can cause Florida some problems, and we saw that with Missouri. But Auburn's front line, didn't really, like I said, Broome. Condon did a really nice job on Broome, and I think they were smart throughout that game. Auburn fouling Cardwell because obviously he missed a ton of free throws in that game. They probably knew that going in, that, hey, don't give him a layup, foul him if you can, even if you have to give away a few fouls here and there. But yeah, Shane, going into Mississippi State, you've got a short prep. You're coming off an emotional high win where you expended a lot of energy. Yeah, that's danger for sure. That's going to really, kind of test the fortitude, which is why, when I look back to that 14-15 stretch with Tennessee and Kentucky, that was really impressive because that was back-to-back, 2 wins on the road against, 2 high-level teams. That was 13 and 14, excuse me, back-to-back against those 2 high-level teams during that Final Four season. So let's see how they respond and go up against another ranked team in Mississippi State. This will be another huge test to this team's resolve and competitive maturity.
Danny's question here on Titan our text line. He lives in Charlotte. He says, Kevin, are you excited for Gator baseball to start up this week?
Yes, very much so. USA Today came out with its preseason poll just now. They have Florida 5th, which I think is, might be a little low, but it tells you the strength of the SEC because I'm sure all 5 of those are in the top 10, ranked in the country. I mean, Florida, Baseball America's got them 7. I know D1 Baseball has them 10. Perfect Game has them 11. I'm going to be fascinated to see, obviously, look, they got to the College World Series the last 2 years. They've had 2, you can argue generational sluggers, right, and Wyatt Langford and Jack Caglione. So how do you step up in the middle of the order? Although I think this is a team based on some of the transfers they brought in. I heard, Kevin Sullivan talk about this on his radio show, can manufacture runs a little bit more. They brought in the speedy guy in center field and Kyle Jones, a transfer from Stetson, who's going to hit in the top of the lineup. You've got Shelton and Heyman coming back in the middle of the order, who I think, will help compensate somewhat for the loss of, Caglione. But the pitching, again, is going to be interesting, too. Does Liam Peterson take a step forward? He was really up and down his freshman year. But when he was good, he was pretty locked in. And Pierce Coppola, coming off injury, kind of came on late last year in May and June. Does he take another step forward and becomes that consistent second starter? And Clemente, might be a guy that moves into the rotation this year after, pitching really well in the bullpen. So it's going to be fun. And they got Air Force on Friday, and check out the Gainesville Sun because we'll be covering opening night.
Yeah, it should be a tremendous year. We're going to have Kevin O'Sullivan on the program tomorrow. Have you seen what Taylor Shoemaker has done early in the season for Gator softball, Kevin?
No, they had a tournament over the weekend, though. Like I
Yeah,
said,
I think she's either hit 5 or 6 home runs already. True freshman, starts at right field. So she's doing something that has never been done here. And is on
how has Rothrock been pitching? Okay.
Yeah, they demolished Michigan and all these teams down there. So they have started how we expected them to start, and they're fun to watch, man. I mean, Tim's had a lot of good teams here, and obviously with back-to-back national titles and all that, but this could be his best team he's ever had. So
just remember, Shane, they're an elite program. You know that, right?
They're very elite. They are extremely elite. All right, before we get you out of here, Kevin, are you excited about Pete Alonso going back to the Mets?
Yes, I'm tremendously excited, Shane. And, it's I think that, you look at that middle of the order now and you look at 2 through 4, 2 through 5, or 1 through 5, you got probably Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, and Mark Vientos. I mean, that's going to be a pretty tough order for pitchers to face. So I think it was important that they got Pete back. I mean, he's 26 from the home run record. My boyhood idol, Darryl Strawberry, who's actually going to be speaking of Bill Allen, Fellowship of Christian Athletes at the end of the month. So yeah. I'm gonna have to go out and talk to Darryl and ask him what he thinks about Pete coming back and trying to break his home run record with the Mets. But it's going to be, like I said, a very very nice for him to be back there, and I think he's homegrown guy, good for the franchise. So, Shane, I also just want to pass along condolences for your friend Kyle Morris. I saw you posted that yesterday, and I know he was a close friend, a roommate, and so forth, and someone that was certainly a Gator starting quarterback, and will be remembered by Gator Nation.
Yep, appreciate that. He was a good dude, no doubt about it. Way too early. Kevin, appreciate your time. Have a good week covering Gator sports, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right, thank you.
Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun joins us on the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tim. QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief, no surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics. All right, folks, tomorrow we'll be here. We'll have Buddy and we'll have Kevin O'Sullivan. So get your baseball questions ready. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Take care.